Foundations of Success. And we're going to be talking about Tom Brady on his new media that he's been posting on Facebook, or his team has, called Tom versus Time. Basically what this is going to be is, if you guys have followed me before, if you've known some of the things I kind of want to bring out in my independent consulting, or even in my public ones that I do through the academy, or that I post on YouTube. Really, it's I just have this fascination, what I think with a lot of people, in finding out what makes successful people tick, the psychology of success, psychology of a goat. That was something I was showing with my coworker. But what I wanted to illustrate is kind of my notes, my takeaways that I took from this series that I've watched, because I think it's an amazing series, and I think that there's a lot of things to learn in life still. I mean, I'm 27, and I want to share kind of stuff I've learned from mentors I've had, from people I've interviewed, from people I've met who are taking it to the next level. And I just want to kind of, the hope of this series is to really break everything down, and so that people can see for themselves kind of what I see, in that there's a lot of similarities, a lot of things that I find are common traits between successful people, and really just really just share that, because in my life, when I have started to learn what made success, what it takes to do success, it helped me in creating my inner motivation, inner things that that have helped me do the goals that I wanted to accomplish. And I want that for you guys as well, for anyone watching this, for my clients watching this, and maybe people in the future, even if you don't become my clients, or you don't, just if you happen to stumble upon this video, hopefully, you get value from it. So let's get started. I'm going to go back to the beginning of this video, and I'll just be pausing it and change it.
Daddy! Perfect. Let me look at my schedule. Daddy, I'm going to soccer. All right, babe. Love you. Daddy! What? I'm going to watch. Yes, you need to tell me? Huh? A sleepover. With Evelyn? She's going to sleep at my house.
What are you willing to do, and what are you willing to give up to be the best you can be? You only have so much energy, and the clock's ticking on all of us. And when you say yes to something, it means you got to say no to something else. In the end, my life's focused around football. It always has been, and always will be, as long as I'm playing.
God, so professional. What's up?
I've given my body, my everything, every bit of energy for 18 years to it.
Good to see you.
How you feeling?
I am doing okay.
So if you're going to compete against me, you better be willing to give up your life,
Well, day's good.
because I'm giving up mine.
My microphone was muted. That right there is a very perfect intro to what it takes to have the mindset of success. And I think a lot of people I've studied, I try to spend time researching, diving into the habits of successful people. And really, the intro he states is, what are you willing to give up to be the best at what you do? Immediately what I think of off the top of my head, I actually read this book, and I got it just so I could show you. It's The One Thing by Gary Keller. And he talks about in the series, and if you don't know, familiar with Tom Brady, he's the quarterback of the New England Patriots. But he basically says that he's given up everything, and it becomes apparent in this insight of this video, in that he just really wants to be the best at what he does, and what he does is throw a football. And if you've read the book, The One Thing, a big takeaway I took from it is not just dedicating your life to one thing, but it's also this idea with clients I've met, people I've met, is there's a lot of pushback that you get where it's like, oh, it's easy to do that once you're already getting paid or that's an easy thing to say once you're already made it. But if you, in my opinion, and from what I know so far in my life, studying this is that he didn't always get paid. If you know his background, he was like the 6th round pick, I think like number 200 overall, and he probably had this mentality in the beginning, and it's apparent now of wanting to be the best at what you do. And then it also goes back to kind of what I'll share from the book is this idea of, are you actually, is it hard to do one thing, um, with the idea that if that's all you were doing, um, if that was all you were doing, it actually becomes easy. And an example I give to my clients, and I'll give to you guys, is when I decided to try to be vegan. I tried vegan for a month. There was all these things I couldn't eat. My choices became limited. And then when I, like, in the beginning, people think, oh, it's hard to do that. And it's because you have all these choices, and you have to decide, do I want to eat, meat, fish, or whatnot. And when I decided to become vegan, all of those things went out the option, and I was just like, I can only eat a certain amount of things. And what I believe, how that mentality translates, is once you're willing to give up, these other things that aren't your passions, it becomes quite easy to say, hey, is it going to help me become the best quarterback of all time, or even a better version of myself yesterday? And I think that's something that people need to think about. Like, it's helped me in my business growing Blend Logic. Everything revolves around helping people discover their passions, helping people utilize technologies. If I'm not doing that, then I don't do it. And it's something I've picked up upon from studying success, the mentors I've had, these books I've read. So enough about my that topic. I'm going to keep playing. I'm going to skip the intro actually, and hopefully we'll keep going.
Let's see which ones we got here. So this is a lot of stuff that Belichick talks about in team meetings that I write down.
So I want to pause this right here. Let's see if I get the frame right.
That I write down.
So if you've been watching, some of the things I notice is, for one, he keeps a journal of everything. And if you could see on the screen here, or on the page, I don't know if my thing brings the mouse, he just has all these written notes. And that's something that I've found in studying success and trying to implement for myself that's helped me, is keeping a daily journal of what you're doing, and keeping, like, not relying on my mind to remember things, but relying on pen and paper, or I use OneNote.
These are kind of his themes, so I'll read you some of them. Prepare and play well. Super Bowl environment is all about hype and ridiculous bull that will go on. It's a great week. It's about competition. The two best teams on the biggest stage. The team that wins is the one that works the hardest. There's a warrior spirit about me. I'm always in competition with myself. So
that was kind of me alluding to in the future, because I've already watched this. Some of the things I took notes on is, that journal he has, it really shows, the amount of focus that he has. He's taking notes of, even, if you may consider him the best quarterback of all time, or even the top of his game, there's these attitudes of always be a student, always be willing to learn. That hopefully, as I keep going through this, or if you're watching it or moving forward in your life, you take upon these mindsets, these attitudes of just losing the ego, being humble, and no matter how good you may perceive yourself, there's always a lot to learn. So that's what I take watching it, and really, him taking notes, me taking notes as well of this video and sharing with you guys, is part of it. Another thing I want to talk about is, Bill Belichick. He was reading the notes of Belichick, and some of those things he said is really, as you want to find good mentors in your life, you want to find people who are raising, they're pushing you to be the best that you can be, and that's what I'll leave it at that.
You're representing a lot of people out there when you go out and play a game. And when you let people down, that's a very tough feeling to keep inside.
Brady steps up, hit inside. Freeman, what a cut. Touchdown, Atlanta. End zone. Pass is caught for the touchdown, Austin Hooper.
You know, to go in the Super Bowl and be losing by 25 points, that hurts really bad.
Falcons overload the right side of the Patriots offensive line. Pass is picked.
The guy made a good play. I went and I tried to dive for the guy who made the tackle, and then I kind of got up and looked and knew no one was catching him.
See, I think for me, I don't know if you guys can see this, it's Matt Ryan. I am based out of Atlanta, Georgia. And, you know, I think when you do team sports, you know, I play basketball, I played lacrosse. You always want to see your team win, but you always got to be willing to, you know, overcome the losses and focus in on, you know, what, as Belichick said, one team wins, one team loses, like studying what it could possibly have been to make them winners. And in this case, you know, they are publicly showing, at least in this Facebook thing, insight into kind of the work ethic and mind mentalities. And yeah, just, I think for Blend Logic, for my clients moving forward, anyone watching this, it's really you gotta take on these attitudes.
And I was thinking, if we lose the game, this will be the play. You know, if we lose, this is what will define this game. And it didn't define the game.
Now they'll throw. Pass is caught. That's White. Touchdown.
28-3. How did they lose?
And, you know, I'm always trying to get that out of my teammates.
Gotta play tougher, harder, tougher, everything.
And I think part of that is letting everybody else know that it's time to go out there and perform.
So if you didn't hear what I was saying, he was talking about mental toughness. And really, you know, as a leader, as if you're trying to start something or you're trying to, you know, whatever you're trying to influence your people, your group, your family, whatever it is, you know, I think the best thing that I've learned in life is sometimes you got to demonstrate by example, right? So, you know, Tom Brady's saying that the people who know him well, people who are in his circle, they know how hard he trains and how mentally tough it is. And he wants to bring that out into the people like his team. I think in terms of what I do and with my clients I work with, if that's a lot of times, you know, the stuff I post here, this is kind of the first showing of it publicly, or how I demonstrate it. But that's really what I demand out of my clients, and they demand the same out of me. Is, you know, the people who work with me, they expect me to be on top of my game, you know, doing the things that are right to help them with their business. And the same way that if I expect them to, you know, really work on their craft as well and deliver the best product, you know, we work off each other. Like, I come up with ideas of what they could be able to produce, and then they just have to do it. And then they come up with things that they've seen in their market, their industry, and then they say, hey, how is it possible to do it? And I want to stay on my game on technology, on digital marketing, and the feedback I could give them. And that's really what, you know, that's how I implement what I learn from other people's success. And I think if you're watching this as a digital media agency or whatever your craft or passion is, you know, take this to, you know, it's tough to really go for the one thing that you want to be going for. But hopefully showing, I mean, not just this video, I want to make a lot of series on a lot of different athletes and a lot of different people. You'll see that it's the only way, really, or it's, if, in my opinion, if you didn't come from money and you have to work on your craft, it's just, you have to be able to really hone in on what your passions are and put everything else aside. And the one thing, the book talks about it, and a lot of other books do, but I really think that sometimes getting inspiration from others is you know, it's what can take you want to take this knowledge and build the confidence to take action, right? So that's one of the themes that I found in successful people, and I just want to highlight that for you guys.
Brady, end zone touchdown. Amendola, 8-point game.
Being mentally tough is putting all that bullshit aside, everything that's happening, all that noise, all the hype, and just focusing on what you got to do.
Laying down the gut, pass is caught.
It's no excuses. It's no whining. It's no complaining. It's like, look, did you win or did you lose?
That's why I want to rewind. I had to step out, but let's go back to what he talks about.
It's no excuses. It's no whining. It's no complaining. It's like, look, did you win or did you lose? End of story.
Handoff. Touchdown, James White.
Something I want to bring out with that is, so I've had the, the opportunity, the blessing in my life to kind of connect with, top life coaches and some of the top athletes to learn about some of their mentality. Besides, these videos I watch directly in my network of people I consult as my clients. And one of the things that I think is imperative to share is what he just said there was, I think it comes down to like not having victim mentality, where it's, no whining, no complaining. It's really just like, did you do enough to win the game and not have any external factors be a part of it? It's really focusing on what you could have done. So not worrying, and kind of get into that. You could do some research or if I have videos on it at this time point, you could look it up. But to briefly explain it, it's like, I assume that he focuses on what he could have done and not, did the refs make a bad call or did this happen or did his teammates not execute? It's like, it's always focused on what can I do to perform at the top level. And that's something that I found in a lot of people I've studied, a lot of success I've studied. So let's keep going.
The first ever overtime in Super Bowl history. Touchdown wins it for the Patriots. Second and goal to go from the 2. Toss sweep right for James White. Cuts it under the right arm. Cuts it upfield. Driving forward. Diving to the goal line. A touchdown and a title for the Patriots. I can't believe it. They have completed the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history.
That's a wrap.
We are.
Now I have to live in Atlanta and live with watching this stuff. It's okay though.
Should have got them polished, man. Should have got them polished. That would have been sweet.
I still feel like I'm dealing with last season. All those external things, not playing the first 4 weeks, the way that our team won, over the course of the season, like, I kind of expected those things to happen. I didn't know that it would result in a Super Bowl, but I knew we were a damn good team. I got to see it. I got to see it every day in practice. And I come off the field and go, damn, we're good. We just need to go do it.
All right, we ready?
So I just want to leave some comments on that, some notes I've taken on, you want to, he talks about in practice, he knows that his team's good. Something I think you want to have in your life and what I've, I used to play piano, I used to take lessons. And the thing I share with my clients is this idea that, a lot of times you put in the work behind closed doors and you're not always ready to show publicly, the level that you're at. And, every time in practice, right, you think you're good, but when it's time to play in the recital, I'm using my piano example, or in football, it's, they play Sundays. You just have to go out and do it. It's about executing. There's a lot of hypotheticals that you have in your head, behind closed doors that I'm guilty of in my life. This stuff that I'm posting now, I've thought about making videos like this before, and I've played around, practiced, and really it's overcoming, the ability to showcase your talents versus, are you going to just practice indoors? And that's something I say to my friends all the time. I say to my clients, it's, I could play piano all day, but if I want to, push myself to the next level, eventually I'm going to have to showcase my talents. And if that's what you want to do, right? I mean, there's a lot of things that you could do. Like, you could play piano for the enjoyment, for practice. But if you want to be that guy who's making, have the success levels or whatnot, you're gonna have to not just play against yourself, but you're gonna have to showcase and kind of quote unquote compete. But at the end of the day, I think the mentality is always being better than yourself the previous day, and in my opinion, that involves showing, versing people or competing, because I said this to kind of my one of my roommates, girlfriend at the time, or girlfriend. She's talked about dancing and for piano, or any sport you do, any art you do, you want to focus it not you want to focus it on the game, right? On piano, if I showcase and I work on my craft and I put it publicly, and this is me versus myself, and you put that out there, that's what it is for everyone else as well. And you want to be raising the bar for piano, for music, for football, for being a quarterback, whatever you do, you kind of want to just be improving it. And it's really not about you; it's about the craft. So hopefully that makes sense. I don't know. I kind of went on a ramble there, but we'll keep walking.
What are you celebrating?
One of these.
One of those?
Yeah, one more. It's the only time of year we pull them out.
I can say that this Super Bowl win was unequivocally the sweetest one of them all. And if you think that was sweet, wait until you see what we've prepared next.
The joys of winning are great, but I sweep those under the rug so fast that there's a brief moment in time where I enjoy the experience of winning. And then I'm thinking about the next game.
So I want to talk about this because I think it's very important. He talks about how the joys of victory, they don't last that long in terms of success or successful minded people. And he's thinking about the next victory, the next step. And I think that's a lot of times that gets, misconstrued in society of, people are reaching for these things like, oh, they like the things that come with success, like, the money or the opportunity. A lot of times it gets centralized, I guess that's the word, in social media, is like, you have the riches, you have the things, and you're just going to be spoiled. You're going to be, when I get success, I'm going to be happy and spoiling in these luxuries that I'm able to have. Really hearing the inside of Tom Brady, and something that I found in my life as well, or that I also try to take, because I'm also guilty of it as well, is it's not about the external things that come from it. It's these internal successes that in his mind he's like, okay, I did what the goal I set onto, and I have more goals, and I want to keep on going after them. And that's something that in like for me, that's how my life has kind of turned out. Before I started studying success, I for example, when I did snowboarding, it was like really difficult to do, and when I finally got it down, it was like, now what? Like, now what can I do? Now what are the things? I didn't like say, okay, I'm gonna, like, it's over and I'm done getting better. Or when I played sports, I really wanted to make like the first starting team lacrosse, and so I put in this work, and then I made the team, and then it's always these things where it's like, after a victory, a public victory, a lot of times people are like, oh, I just want to get that one victory, and then that's it. But once you start incorporating these mindsets, these habits of successful people, you'll realize that it's really the journey that gives them the joy. So it's the journey of working on yourself, working on improvement. That's really where the joy comes from. And hopefully, as I keep making these documents, it keeps the picture gets painted clear of this mentality and stuff you could incorporate into your life, or into your business, or into people you work with and whatnot. Because I think a lot of these mindsets of successful people can be translated into a lot of things you do, into whatever your passion or craft is. That's kind of the pillar of what I've built Blend Logic about, and everyone I consult with is getting raising the standards. So Let's keep going.
And I'm thinking about winning again.
Happy 40th birthday, hashtag Tommy Brady. Enjoy that avocado ice cream and a cake iced with...
One thing I wanted to bring out.
Happy 40th birthday.
Okay, so it's not showing. Oh, when I'm at full screen. This is kind of like a marketing thing. There's this icon here, and then it goes to Facebook Watch. So kind of going meta right now as a digital marketer. Facebook knows they're trying to grow this Facebook Watch platform, and they know that perhaps people will take away from their video or whatnot. So by embedding this in the video, this top part right here, and making it clear like, oh, this is Facebook Watch, that's another marketing thing. So that's why you see people who make content, they put their logos or they put their stuff there, is like they want to take credit for what the thing is, and that's something as you as a client or as a business, and once you start branding yourself, you want to start doing this. And there's a second part that I'll let it play out about this radio announcer. He talks about Tom Brady's health, and he'll start getting into the shakes he makes.
Tommy Brady, enjoy that avocado ice cream and a cake iced with organic hummus.
Jay-Z taught us 30 is the new 20, and Tom Brady is showing us 40 is the new 30. 40 is normally considered a line of demarcation for regression, especially among professional athletes. I can hear our boy Max now. The cliff is coming.
In the next 18 months, he will be at best middle of the pack. And I would tend to take the lower estimate, like 15 to 18, something like that. He'll be average at best.
So kind of what you saw there, he's making his shake, and later on in the videos, it kind of makes it that he always does that every day. So, I would say research on fitness, and if fitness is your priority or something you do for a living, really like if I was a fitness business, I would say like, why is Tom Brady doing these shakes, and really break it down. I'd make an article on shakes. But something to take away from this as like a success level, and it involves your body. Well, one, I think that your mental health and your physical health, you should always take care of. Whatever business you do, it helps you kind of keep performing in a day-to-day, regardless of if you get paid from an athletic standpoint. You want to be just treating your body as a temple. And two, I want to talk about, the radio guy, the snippet they played, he's become synonymous with these avocado shakes or eating healthy. And that's what you kind of want to, that tells a lot into like a testament of how dedicated he is to optimal health, that even like radio announcers are joking and saying that this is what he's going to enjoy on his 40th birthday. And I think anyone can do that, right? If you really dedicate yourself to the mission, you will do kind of the insight that Tom Brady is providing. It's more than just them playing it out. It's this idea that you're known for it, and that's kind of the attitude you want to take when you start building yourself up or building your clientele or whatever you're doing in life. If you're doing healthy habits, you want you got to showcase it.
Father Time is undefeated, and Tom may play well enough to win another Super Bowl, but his play is going to start to back up. We'll start to really see it this year.
Whatever people call me, they call me. Those things don't bother me at all. I don't need exterior motivations. The ones that I have inside of me are enough.
There we go. Arms up. Come on, pick up the pace.
Get back. A little more. I wish I did at 22 years old what I was doing, for the last 10 years. I just didn't know any better.
That was a good one.
I didn't know any different. I kind of did what everyone else was doing. Hopefully, as you gain experience in these things, you can learn to be more efficient, and create this version of me at 40 that I think is a lot better than when I was 22.
Something I want to talk about now is, the point of me making these videos is not just for the future generation, but also for myself as a reminder that, I could have done some of these things, like not just what Tom Brady's doing, but in my craft of what I'm trying to develop. I could have done this 4 years ago. I knew about this technology. I knew about building computers. I've had multiple screens, like all this setup I have. Um, it comes down to like this mental game in myself where it's about executing, as Tom Brady says. It's like in my head, I think that there's these things that I could do. And then when it actually comes to recording it, to video editing it, it's just something that I had to, get over as a human being. And I think we all go through it in the human experience. And Tom Brady just showcases it in terms of his health and fitness, where he wishes he knew, at 22, what he's doing now. And that's something that Ray Dalio talks about in his book Principles is when a reason for me motivating myself to make these videos is when you optimize something for the group, right? It's like a rewarding experience. And so if for anyone watching this, and for people who've watched Tom Brady, I believe that people who are striving for success are picking up on the same things I pick up on, and that now any kid who wants to be a quarterback will see this video and they'll say, hey, I could have done it, or I can do it because Tom Brady showed me the way. And then I'll be like, they'll take stretching seriously and they'll take working out every day seriously. And so that's what I think about when I see this is like, what can I do every day to elevate myself so that I could help more people? And then really it's if people like in my life, what I've been able to do so far, I used to, when I first started playing basketball, I was like, I mean, I wish I could get paid somehow to play basketball. And if you followed my story, you know that now a lot of my clients are basketball trainers, and I had to learn it, the way I learned it. I had to go out. I mean, I still think there's value in me when I went out and reached out to a lot of people, the experience I gained, the growth I learned. But I could have very shortened my learning experience if content like what I'm making existed, or that's what I make. As I'm thinking of making content that would have helped me in the past. And Tom Brady talks about you can only execute on ideas that you know on. Like knowledge and insight helps you make decisions based on the information you know. And what Tom Brady stated is he was only doing what everyone else was doing. Right, and you want to be able to like distance yourself and find the optimum path. And this video is insight into like kind of what it takes. So I just wanted to make a point on that. So let's keep going.
Every draft moment, they'll show me running the 40, which looked very unathletic. I was draped in a big white T-shirt, big gray shorts, and me lumbering down, the Indianapolis field. So I feel like being a late bloomer in some ways was really helpful. So when I got to the pro level, I was still so excited, and I was still trying to chase everybody. I was still trying to get better. And I also had it just as an openness to learn.
Here comes the rush, and here's the hit. And wide.
So kind of what Tom Brady talks about is you always got to be wanting that learning mentality. When I used to lifeguard at Georgia Tech before I graduated, my coach or my boss, Mr. Ferris, was saying, and he was talking to the group of all lifeguards, but I took it as he was talking to me. He said that many of you guys are going to graduate, and when you get out of college, you'll go to corporate or whatnot, but you cannot stop having this learning attitude, this curiosity attitude. Because when you do, it becomes over. And I really took that to heart. And I've been out since 2012 when I graduated from tech, and it's really it's really inspiring to see. Man, I'm getting like emotional here. Woo! Let's shake it out. It's really inspiring to see like Tom Brady, people at the top in success, like also having these attitudes, because it's really helped me a lot in my life.
Brady's up. That's good to see, but what looked like a knockout hit by Nate Clemens.
In 2004, 2005, I was going through a lot of body issues, bumps and bruises were really starting to take a toll. I got to the point with my right throwing arm where I couldn't throw the ball the way that I wanted to throw it.
Watch that left shoulder
He's had an issue, an AC separation in that one the whole time. And
Why don't we hit just generically feet, and then we'll hit legs, 2 special spots, and arm.
Perfect.
So
Let's try to face up first.
well, I met Alex when he was coming to our facility to work with, different players.
This has been better.
That's better. That feels good. And I was like, yeah, what can he do? What can he do that's been different than what everyone else has done for me, which is just, ice your shoulder and take some rest. And boy, did I learn a lot. I see pliability as lengthening and softening of muscles to get them back into balance.
Okay, relax there.
Over the years, so many muscle contractions, or through all the workouts that we do, we shorten our muscles. So if you can get them to lengthen, then when you can contract, they can fully contract and relax. That feels good.
Something I took notes on that I want to share is this idea of like flexibility, not just of the body, but of the mind. So what he's showcasing here is, being able to stretch and contract to get like the optimal amount of muscle contractions. Stuff I learned about in I studied biomedical engineering, and they talked. I forgot what it's called. I think it's like the myosin, like, and you get those like action potentials triggering. Not to go too much into my time at tech, but something that I picks up on is, I've studied like Bruce Lee. He talks about being water, like flow, like water. And he, when he first starts talking about his trainer, he said like, what can this guy do for me, right? So it's natural to have doubts in trainers, and something that I think helps people in life is overcoming, this idea. It comes from ego, where you say, this guy can't help me, or I'm not willing to try it. And in this case, Tom Brady, being the quarterback, was willing to, let go of his preconceived notions of what people could do for him, and allow, once again, the student mentality of learning, and so that's what I take out of it from watching it, and hopefully that helps you guys if that's not this kind of stuff you're thinking about. I think it's been very helpful in my life and my career and my business.
We're so close. He's much more than someone that just works on me physically.
Prior to the season starting, we really try to, get his brain to understand there's going to be impact, and then prepare his body for the impact, to almost feel as if it's normal behavior for him.
Something I also think about with what Alex just said, it's like you're preparing for toughness so that you think it's normal. And one time when I was working out at the CRC, I asked the guy, I was like, how'd you get the muscles you got? How'd you get as strong as you got? And he said, well, I lift heavy weights because I prepare my body to think about lifting heavy weights. And then now when it's time to actually lift the heavy weights, like I've at least prepared it. Something I think about also is like Blake Griffin. There was a study I saw one time on Reddit that said like he will train his body so that when he stops doing the performance, he tries to get at resting heart rate in like something ridiculous, like 10 seconds later. Like he'll be doing physical activity and he'll train his body to be like, okay, I'm not doing physical activity. Let's get at an optimum state.
That's a little resin right there. Yeah. There's no way I would be here today without that. I mean, he's just been so influential in how I've taken care of my body, the process, the routine that we go through on a weekly basis in order to prepare myself to play without pain, with a lot of joy. And I can go to practice feeling great.
So when you're 39 and most guys would go, I can fire that.
I get some shoulder impingement from basketball. I need to get I need to get a plyo coach.
We work really hard over the course of a year. What we do in the workouts and the way we train. All these lifestyle choices that you're making in order to do what? In order to win.
Yeah, even what I take from that is he's training like all the time at that. I assume that's his house. He hires a personal trainer to go out there. I think a lot of times, people trying to make it to the top, people I've worked in various levels, in business and successes. You got to be willing to do with or without the money stuff you love doing. So let's say he wasn't successful, or people trying to make it to the top. There's nothing stopping you from going outside and practicing throwing or practicing working on your body. There's nothing stopping you from dedicating yourself to, like your craft. And I'll just relate to, when I'll go play basketball, I wish I had, trainers who would pass me the ball back or all this stuff. But I don't have that because I'm not good enough and I'm working on myself to get better. But nothing's stopping me from going to a basketball court and practicing dribbling, practicing shooting. It's this mentality that you have to have in anything you do in your business, is that, if you want these quote unquote luxuries, of people, helping you train, you got to prove it. You got to really work on yourself and be that good so that people are like, okay, I'll rally behind this person and I'll help him practice. I'll help him do it. Because really, if you're not, like, you're not going to get that stuff. And it's like letting go of this ego, this mentality, like, oh, I wish I had this money. So, I'm just referring to basketball because one of my main fitness passions is basketball. There's a thing you could like shoot and it like shoots you the ball back. And I was like, dang, like it's really expensive. Wish I had the money to get that stuff. But I don't need that to get better at basketball. I think there's a lot of crutches people have in their lives, and clients I've taken on, and even myself, where it's this limiting belief of what you need to have in order to get better. And you really don't need it. Like Tom Brady's just training, throwing a ball around in his backyard, and really anyone could do that. So.
The pads! Let's go! Boom! Well, the Patriots season opener coming up. We're just hours away, and one guy that the Chiefs certainly are scouting is Tom Brady, who is 40. Yes, he is 40. So the question is, can he continue the pace now that he's officially over the hill? How much time left for Brady?
If he slips or doesn't look the same way coming out of the gate in 2017, what are we talking about? Brady, I think, is different. We all consider him to be different. But when you hit that age, there's a reason why people have preconceived notions about it.
You got to block out the noise, because
healthy food right
none
there,
of that's
guys.
going to help you win.
Stuff you got to do.
What motivates me is I could have, should have done better. I think, man, I'm in my 18th year, had all this knowledge, played so many games, so many experiences, so many teammates, so many game plans. Like, I should be perfect.
So that's something I also want to stop at this point, is this idea of chasing perfection, of this idea of, thinking that you should be perfect. It's really, you're striving for that. I think a lot of times in successful athletes I've studied, and success in general, is, you're always trying to be like, what can I have done? All this stuff I know, how can I execute it better? And you're always chasing that. And I think it never stops. Anyone at the top. So I'll stop this video because I actually wanted to show you Steph Curry's masterclass. So just kind of to bring the point home, I'll play this video, but you'll kind of see what I'm talking about.
It might be tough. You might have to overcome a lot more than the guy next to you, but that's what makes it all worth it. No matter where you are in your progression, we're all in the same boat. I'm still searching for perfection and full potential in this game. The time is now for you to start your journey to find ways to get better. That's why we're all here. You need to get in the gym and get to work. Time's ticking. I'm Stephen Curry, and this is my masterclass.
Let's get hype. But yeah, it's really, more people have said it with Steph Curry. He just explicitly said it for that ad of masterclass. But I think he wouldn't have said it if it wasn't true for him. And this is the stuff that I want to incorporate in my life, that I'm trying to, get better at expressing. Is that, you're chasing this phantom, or this version of yourself that is this perfect version, and that's what you use as interior motivation. That's what you use to strive towards. And that's something I've seen common, and a lot of what helps me to make my decisions is, I study, and once I get this overarching picture of like, okay, this is what I've seen a lot of successful people do, I take from those ideas, and I just try to execute on them. And I think a lot of times people will just, sometimes I have to teach them these things, or say, hey, why don't you do some studying on this or that? But what I want to do and what I'm putting in this video, what I'm putting in my courses, what I try to instill in everyone I meet, my clients, is this idea, or at least what I think are good ideas, because I think a lot of people could implement them.
When I see myself out there, I feel like, man, I still do this, and I do it better than I've ever done it. So why should I stop? Go!
You're just.
You're not, you just were not in sync yet. You don't know each other. It's like building a relationship. The first time you meet somebody, you're not going to be their best friend. You know, it takes time to get to know people. They're going to get to know you, your looks, and the way you play, and the way you do things, huh? You're going to get to know them. It's going to be awesome. I know it. Okay?
Lord. Yeah, so they kind of ended there. They lost their first game, and then Giselle was just comforting him, emotionally, or however, she feels best in her experience, and I think that's there's a lot to take away, in my opinion, from that last part. If you want to build a team, as human beings, sometimes your psychology goes down, and you don't get the wins, and you want to surround yourself with people who they'll build you back up so that you could keep on striving for perfection, whether it's your life partner or your business partner or whoever it is. That's you won't always have like wins in your life. You got to be willing to have the mental toughness to deal with losses. And Tom Brady was expressing his opinions, his frustrations, and you want to surround yourself with good people around you who will help you get through it. So that's what I take away from that ending video. And then that was it, guys. So that was this is a 4-part series. I want to break down everything. I think the last one comes out Sunday, so this is the first time I'm making this kind of content, and it's kind of like what she said. Hopefully you guys find value. I'm in this beta mode as well of working on myself. I'm a work in progress. This product is a work in progress. This is I've never done this before, and hopefully you guys like it. I'm always trying to improve it. I study stuff to help teach things better, or I'm always open for feedback and criticism. The same way that I pointed out that Tom Brady is, and the other successful people that I've met, or that I've had the time to study, and there's a lot more people that I can. And this is what I'm passionate about. So you guys are seeing, the expressions of my life and what I've been able to do so far put out in this form of content. So, hopefully you guys, we build this relationship, we build up, hopefully this stuff, you guys will get to know me, and, we'll get to know the people I study, and hopefully you can instill their mindsets, their attitudes into your own life, the way that I've tried to do it. Cause I found it helpful, for building up, starting my business, growing my business, finding clients, helping my clients grow their business. It's not just about, I try to have this servant attitude where it's not just about, raising the level for myself. I want my clients to, raise their standards as well and push themselves to perfecting their crafts, because, a lot of them have real impact in what they could do. And I think I do too, but I have to prove it every day. Work on stuff, work on my presentation, work on stuff. And I think a lot of people just need to have this mentality that this first episode of Tom Brady's thing showed, is just really having, really dedicating yourself, really focusing on, am I doing what I can to be the best version? That's the main takeaway I take from this first video. Hopefully, you guys watch it yourself with this new frame, this new lens. This video is online on Facebook. Kind of think about, not just taking it as, watching material, but real insight into, what it takes for someone to do what, the series is marketed towards that, but like really trying to find out, like, what are the intangible things that he's doing, And then like kind of keeping that in your mind and focus as you go on your journey to success and perfection. I encourage you guys to just have an open mindset. So I'm about to edit this right now and do the next 4 episodes, and yeah, till the next one, guys. Hope you enjoyed.